Stainless steel polishing is different than aluminum in that stainless steel, when you polish this, you're actually making a molecular change in the metal. Aluminum polishing, you're cleaning the metal, so that way you can bring out the shine. With stainless, stainless is made up of certain components of metal. Iron, chromium, and nickel being the three main ones, with some carbon in there. So as you're polishing stainless, contrary to popular belief, you do need some heat for stainless steel. I get questions all the time from guys all over the country, all over the world, asking me about stainless because of what we do in the entertainer bus industry back home in Nashville. We do a lot of stainless. So stainless, being that it's a molecular change, you have to heat it up to stretch the molecules. As the stainless cools down, your heavier molecules are going to rest on the bottom, your lighter ones are going to come to the top of the surface to bring you that shine. So that's the biggest difference in stainless. You do actually need heat. No, to answer another question that I get all the time, if you're doing the right process on stainless steel, you cannot turn this air breather blue. You cannot warp it, even if you're going to run 6,000 RPM. If you do the right process, there's no chance of you damaging this part on this truck. Even if you're doing a thinner stainless visor, do the right process, you're going to come out just fine on your stainless steel polishing. So, but along with that, there's a different pattern that we use for stainless polishing. With aluminum, aluminum will push over, and then we'll move our buff up and pull back over, okay? We'll lay down that compound line, which is the black line. That's another question that we get a lot, is what is the black line? The black line is actually, you want the black line. That's a compound line. So with aluminum, you'll make a compound line here, you'll move up 1/8 of an inch, make another compound line, so on and so forth. You're pushing that compound up. Stainless, on the other hand, requires a little bit different technique. So with stainless, we're going to push over, then we're going to run our black compound line. Underneath that black compound line will be a grease line. So we're going to come underneath our compound line and we're going to buff off that grease line. Then we're going to move up a little bit further above our compound line, lay another compound line, come below and buff off our grease line. It's a rectangular pattern. So that's going to allow the proper amount of heat transfer. Heat rises, that's physics. So that's going to allow proper heat transfer as you're moving upwards in the part. So now with a breather, I'm not going to go upwards as much as I'm going to go, I'm not going to go vertical, I'm going to go horizontal around the breather. So when judging your stainless steel parts, you got to kind of look like which way are your lines going to go? Which way do you want your lines to go? This part wraps around like this. So you really want a horizontal style line. You don't want a vertical line. That's just not going to look good. So we're going to get going on this stainless part. We're going to use the red buff and we're going to use the yellow deluxe compound to clean up some of this wind burn and blend it in to the nicer areas of this breather. This is a good trick to use, a good compound and a good buff setup to use for the everyday guy, the everyday truck driver that just wants to throw a little bit of shine on his stainless breather and he doesn't want to sand it. Yes, it's wind burnt, but it's not horrible. I believe the Yellow Deluxe is going to cut that out without a problem. So we're going to do that right now. important to know about polishing stainless, even polishing your aluminum, is the art of the back cut. Now you guys just saw me do this one whole section of this breather. You saw how I started out. I loaded up my buff and I pulled down and back cut. So what back cutting is going to do, there's two main functions of back cutting. Number one, it spreads your compound down. So that way you're going to get a nice even coating of compound on this part. So that way you don't have to load up as much when you go to do your next cut going upwards. Two, the back cut allows that metal to go ahead and heat up. It allows the metal to stretch, the pores to stretch, so it's going to take the compound your next pass a lot easier and a lot quicker. So back cutting is more of an advanced technique, but it's actually something that can be done very easily. You can actually back cut, and you don't have to back cut real fine. When you're back cutting, just back cut this way and then drop down, back cut some more. You're just trying to spread your compound around. So that way you don't have to reload your bar onto your buff near as much. So keep that in mind when you're doing your stainless or even doing your aluminum. We'll show you when we get onto the aluminum tank on this truck, back cutting the tank. But on stainless, back cutting is actually pretty important because up here is cold. Down here, that's nice and warm. So this is gonna polish out a lot easier now that I've back cut.